Happy morning, students. In 9th Bioscience, we are going to see Unit 21, Nutrition and Health. In the last class, we had seen this lesson, a small introduction about this lesson, and we had seen what are the classes of nutrients in this lesson. What are the classes of nutrients? I hope you all recall this. What are the classes? They are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. We had seen all those things in detail, and also we had seen the dietary sources, deficiency disorders and symptoms of the vitamin in the tabular column. That is, we had seen both fat soluble vitamins and also water soluble vitamins. Today we are going to see the continuation of this lesson. Today we are going to see what are minerals, what are the dietary sources, functions and their deficiency disorders. Let us see. Look, this tabular column shows the minerals, their sources, functions and deficiency disorders. I hope we had seen the minerals already. That is, in the minerals we had seen the macro minerals and also the micro minerals, isn't it? In the last class we had seen what are macro minerals and what are the micro minerals. That is, today we are going to see what are the sources of such minerals, functions and deficiency disorders. First one is we are going to see the macro nutrients and macro minerals and micro minerals. First we are going to see three macro minerals, that is calcium, sodium and potassium. Then again we are going to see the two micro minerals, that is iron and iodine. Okay, first we are going to see that is major mineral, that is the macronutrients, that is calcium. We all know that our body, bone and teeth is mainly formed of calcium, isn't it? That is, bones and teeth, because of the deposition of the calcium, it will be get strengthened, isn't it? So calcium is very essential macronutrient. So what are the sources of this calcium? That is dairy products, milk, cheese, butter, all those dairy products are rich source of calcium, and also bean, cabbage, eggs and fish. These are all the sources of calcium. Then function. What is the function of this calcium? That is constituent of bones. That is, bone is mainly formed of calcium. That is, calcium get deposited. Due to the deposition of this calcium, the bones get strong. Then enamel of the teeth. The teeth enamel is formed of calcium. Then clotting of blood. What is maybe clotting of blood? When blood ooze out, this calcium involved in clotting. That is, it stops the oozing out of the blood, isn't it? So calcium is very important in clotting of blood. And control muscular contraction. Even a little amount of calcium is necessary for contraction of muscle. While you are holding the hand, there will be contraction of the muscle, no? So their contraction of the muscle, this calcium is very essential. If suppose the calcium is not present in during muscle contraction, means what will happen? Our muscle become fatigued. Okay. And what are the deficiency disorders due to calcium? If suppose we are taking calcium in very little amount, that is normal, that is below the normal range, it leads to bone deformities. Bone deformities means the formation of bone, that is deposition of calcium is not proper in bones. Then poor skeletal growth, that is skeletal system is mainly made up of bones. If suppose the bones are not properly formed, means what will happen? That is, the skeletal system will not be properly developed. So it is a poor skeletal growth. Then osteoporosis in adult. Osteoporosis means the calcium will not deposit in the bones. The bones will be weakened and it will be easily broken in the adult due to less deposition of calcium. These are all the important dietary disorders due to deficiency disorders due to calcium. Then second macronutrient, what is it? It is sodium. What is it? It is sodium. That is, sodium we call it as common salt. Source in sodium, that is, sodium is rich in the common salt. Salt we are taking in the food, no? That salt is rich in sodium. What is the function of the sodium? The main function of the sodium is maintain fluid balance and involving neurotransmission. Neurotransmission means nerve cells, that is brain cells, send the signal from the sense organs. So for transmission of impulses, this sodium is very important. That is, through sense organs, the impulses are received from the environment and it will be sent to the brain. So for this transmission, the sodium is very, very important. Okay. Then maintain fluid balance. Fluid balance means our body is made up of water. Okay. Our blood is also rich in water. So maintain the fluid balance in the body. That is our body having two fluids, that is blood and the lymph. So maintain the fluid balance is very important. This role is taken by the sodium. Then if suppose we are not taking sodium in the right amount, means what will happen? That is muscular cramp. Muscles are not properly working. It will leads to muscular cramps. Then nerve impulses. Nerve impulses do not get transmitted. Nerve impulses, that is, if suppose sodium is not present, what will happen? I already told you, that is nerve sense signal. The signal is not proper, so no transmission of the signal. So it will leads to deficiency of sodium. Then next one, potassium. Third macronutrients is the potassium. Potassium is a rich source in banana, sweet potato, nuts, whole grains, citrus fruits. What is the function of this potassium? Means regulate nerve and muscle activity. This is also involved in regulating nerve and muscle activity. Nervous, even the sodium is also act as a neurotransmitter. No? So this potassium is also acting as a regulator of nerves and muscle activity. Similarly, like that of the sodium, if potassium is also deficiency, means it will leads to muscular fatigue, like that of calcium. The nerve impulses do not get transmitted. Similarly, in sodium also, if a deficiency of sodium leads to, that is, cutting of nerve impulses, that is, nerve impulses are not properly transmitted. Similarly, in potassium also, the nerve impulses do not get transmitted. Nerve impulses means that is, nerve cells are linked together in a chain-like manner. One nerve signal will be stimulated by a first nerve. This stimulus will be received by the next nerve. This transmission of nerve impulses get detached if sodium and potassium is not proper, and this nerve impulses does not pass through the next neuron. So for the transmission of impulses, this sodium and potassium is very, very essential. Then coming to the next one, that is micronutrients, that is microminerals. What are the microminerals? Iron and sodium are the two important microminerals in our body, needed in our body. Iron is rich in spinach, dates, greens, then broccoli, whole cereals, nuts, fishes, and liver. What is it is an important component of hemoglobin. We all know that hemoglobin is a pigment. It is a blood pigment which is present in the RBC. So only the blood will be red in color. That is, hemoglobin is made up of heme, that is a iron. It is mainly made up of iron. If you are not taking the iron in a proper amount, it will leads to less amount of hemoglobin, that is anemia. That is commonly the doctor says the blood is very less in the human body, like that in the case of anemic condition, isn't it? That is, if suppose you are having less amount of iron in your body, it will leads to a condition that is called as anemia. Then iodine, it is a milk, seafood, iodized salt. We are taking iodine in the salt itself. That is, iodized salt is rich in iodine. That is, this iodine deficiency causes a disease that is called as goiter. Due to less intake of iodine, what will happen? A goiter disease will occur. That is, this iodine is mainly helps in the formation of thyroid hormone. Where it is thyroid hormone secreted? That is, it is present in the throat, the thyroid gland. The thyroid gland itself produces a hormone. What is it? It is a thyroid hormone. This thyroid hormone produces a normal functioning of calcium and mineral metabolism. If suppose the thyroid hormone is not secreted, a goiter will form. These are all the minerals, dietary sources, functions, and deficiency disorders. We have seen the macronutrients, in which we had seen calcium, sodium, and potassium. In micronutrients, we had seen iron and sodium. Next we are going to see a protein. Next we are going to see protein energy malnutrition. What is protein energy malnutrition? PEM. It is shortenly call it as PEM. The abbreviation of PEM is protein energy malnutrition. That is absence of certain nutrients in our daily diet over a long period of time leads to deficiency diseases. That is, our body requires all the classes of nutrition. What are the classes of nutrition? Yes, that is carbohydrate, proteins, vitamins, minerals and water. These are all the basic nutrients necessary for our body. Frequently we have to take all those nutrients. If for a long duration we are not taking these types of nutrients in the required amount, it will lead to a disease that is called as deficiency disease. This is called as malnutrition. That is, our body requires more nutrition. Our body is in deficient of such nutrition, that we call it as malnutrition. For example, deficiency of protein and energy leads to severe conditions. If suppose we are not taking a protein rich diet, if our diet is not rich in protein which our body requires, it will lead to a disease that is called as kwashiorkor and marasmus. These two diseases are due to deficiency of protein. What are the diseases? That is kwashiorkor and marasmus. Kwashiorkor and marasmus are mainly due to deficiency of what? That is deficiency of proteins. Let us see what is kwashiorkor and what is marasmus. Okay, we are going to see what is kwashiorkor and what is marasmus. These two are what disease? It is a protein deficiency disease, isn't it? That is first one, kwashiorkor. Kwashiorkor, it is a condition of severe protein deficiency. That is, if we are taking protein in not sufficient amount, it will lead to a disease that is called as kwashiorkor. It affects children between 1 to 5 years of age. That is particularly the growing up children at the age of 1 to 5 years. We are not giving a protein rich food. It will lead to a disease that is called as kwashiorkor, whose diet mainly consists of carbohydrate but lack in protein. That we have to take all the types of nutrient rich food, isn't it? That is classes of food. Classes of nutrients we had seen, no? That is, our food is rich in carbohydrate, protein, fat, minerals and water, isn't it? If suppose we are not taking protein, we are taking only carbohydrate, means it leads to a lack of protein. So definitely it will cause a disease that is called as kwashiorkor. What it is? Kwashiorkor. Then second disease is marasmus. What is it? Marasmus. It usually affects the infant. Infant means that is the baby below 1 year of age is called as infant. And when the diet is poor in carbohydrate, fat and protein, if the baby is not having any of these three diets, any of these three nutrients, it will lead to a disease that is called as marasmus. Look at this picture below. These two are a very good example for the disease. This is a picture of marasmus. That is, this child is severely affected from the deficiency of both carbohydrate, protein and fat. This is marasmus. That is, the body is not having any flesh. Then this is the picture of kwashiorkor. Here, they have enlarged belly. In kwashiorkor, they have enlarged belly. Their food is deficient in protein. They are not taking sufficient amount of protein. So it will lead to kwashiorkor. These two are important protein deficiency diseases. Okay. Then next we are going to see food hygiene. What is the topic? Food hygiene. What is meant by food hygiene? Okay, we have to take a healthy, clean food. Okay, food spoilage is an undesirable change in the normal state of food and it is not suitable for human consumption. Food spoilage. We have to eat a healthy, clean food. if the food is spoiled, for example, if we are taking the bread, on the surface of the bread there will be any fungal infection, what we do, we throw away the bread, we not eat the bread. So that bread is called as spoiled food. So such type of food will cause us a disease to the human. So that is called as food spoilage. That is due to poor personal hygiene may allow pathogenic microorganisms to cause food spoilage. If we are not taking care of a personal hygiene, it will spoil the food. How it spoil the food? By the growth of microorganisms, it will spoil the food. Then signs of food spoilage includes how we can identify this food is spoiled. How we can identify? With the help of the change in appearance. If suppose the normal bread looks like a somewhat whitish in color, if suppose it is, if the any fungal growth is on the surface of the bread, it looks like what color? It looks like a green or yellowish in color. So due to the change in appearance and color and texture, then odor, it will create a bad odor. So with the help of all those things, we can identify that the food is spoiled, isn't it? That is, if suppose any food is spoiled, it will create some bad smell, and it will cause us a bad taste. These are all the factors responsible for food spoilage. That is, what are the factors which are responsible for the spoilage of food. We are going to see internal factors and external factors. There are two factors, okay? That is, if suppose the food is spoiled, these are the two factors in which this food is spoiled. First one, internal factors. Internal factors means, that is, it includes enzymatic activities and moisture content of the food. If suppose we are keeping the bread for a 1 week or 2 week, what will happen? The bread having some moisture in it, no? So what will happen? Because of the moisture present in the bread, it will create the growth of the fungi. That is one of the internal factor. And then enzymatic activities, it will leads to that we are having a rice flour. In that there are certain microorganisms which grow due to enzymatic activities. These are all the internal factors. That is, the factors which is present inside the food will spoil the food. Such factors are called as internal factors. Then external factors. What are the external factors? It includes adulterants in the food. Adulterants means we are adding any color, so it will contaminate the food. Then contaminated utensils and equipments, you notice that all your mother, before cutting the vegetable, they clean the vegetable in the water. Why they are cleaning? To remove the dirt. So contaminated utensils and equipments, that is unhygienic cooking. So without cleaning the vegetables, without cleaning the vessels, when we cook, means what will happen? It will leads to spoilage of the food items. So that is contaminated utensils and equipments. If we not properly wash the knife before cutting the vegetables, and if we are not cleaning the vessels before cooking the food, it will leads to what? It will leads to contamination of the food. Then unhygienic cooking area. If the cooking area is not clear or neat, then it will leads to contamination. And lack of storage facilities. If we are preparing food more, we are keep it in keep it in fridge or something else. That is, if we are not having such storage facility, means what will happen? Automatically it will be spoiled. If suppose morning we are preparing a dal rice, in the evening what will happen? It will be spoiled. Why? What happened? There are some enzymatic reactions will occur in the food, and it leads to spoilage. So these are all the external factors which creates spoilage of the food. I hope you all understood what is food spoilage. There are the two factors. That is, what are the two factors? That is, internal factors and external factors. These two factors are very, very essential for the spoilage of the food. The next topic we are going to see food preservation. What is preservation? That is to avoid the spoilage of food, to avoid the decay of food. We have to store the food for future use in the same condition without spoilage. So that is called as food preservation. For example, we are keeping the jam for so many months. How we are keeping the jam for so many months? Because of adding the preservative, we are keeping the jam for so many months. If suppose we are not, if suppose in jam they are not adding any preservative, means what will happen? It will be spoiled within 2 to 3 days. So food preservation is a process of prevention of food from decay or spoilage by storing in a condition fit for the future use. We are storing the food in a proper condition. We are adding some preservatives for the future use. That is called as food preservation. Then how we can preserve the food? The following steps. From the following steps, the given following steps, we can preserve the food. That is increase the shelf life of the food. Okay, we have to increase the shelf life of the food. That is retain the color, texture, flavor and nutritive value. We have to increase the texture, flavor and nutritive value of the food. Then increase the food supply, decrease the wastage of the food. Okay, for this purpose we are preserving the food. That is, we have to increase the life of the food by adding the preservative, and we have to retain the same color for several months. If we are keeping the jam for several months, is this any color change we notice? No, the color is as such, the flavor is as such, and the nutrient value is also as such. Then increase the food supply. If suppose we are keeping the jam for several months, means we are getting this jam for several months. No, we are using it. No, so increase food supply. Then decrease wastage of food. For a single use, we are using a whole bottle of jam. No, we are using a little bit of jam. So we are using the jam for several months. So wastage of food is avoided. So for this purpose, the food preservation is very, very essential. I hope you all clear about what is food preservation, why we have to preserve the food. Then next one, methods of food preservation. There are certain methods in which we can preserve the food. What are the various methods of food preservation? We have to see in the next one. First one, the first step in food preservation is drying. Simply dry the food. Drying is a process of preservation of food by removing of water, moisture content in the food. It can be done either by sun drying, cereals, fish, or vacuum drying, milk powder, cheese powder, or hot air drying, grape, dry fruit, potato flakes. Then dry inhibits the growth of microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast and mold. That is a very good preservation is drying. I hope you all noticed in your home, that is some of the mothers dry their pulses grains in the dry hot sun. That is in the sunlight they are drying some cereals and pulses. No, while drying, what will happen means the water content in this cereals and pulses, what will happen? The moisture which is present in the cereals and pulses, it will be removed by the sunlight. So with the help of drying, that is cereals and fishes we can dry. That is fresh fishes when dried, it will be converted into what? It is karuvadu. In Tamil we call it as karuvadu. No? So that is the dried fish. Or vacuum drying. Vacuum drying means that is in vacuum we are keeping the milk powder and cheese powder. So from this powdered formats are dried using vacuum drying. Then hot air drying means that is fruits and vegetables are dried by using the hot air. Hot air is blown on the surface of the grapes, dry fruits and potato flakes. What will happen? There is the moisture in the grapes, dry fruits and potato flakes will be removed with the help of hot air drying. So what is the purpose of this drying? This hot air vacuum drying and also this sun drying is the basic source in which that is the moisture which is present in the food is removed, isn't it? That is the moisture which is present in the food is removed by sun drying. So if suppose the cereals or the fruits or vegetables having the moisture, means what will happen? It is easily contaminated by the microorganisms. These microorganisms easily grow in the moist condition. So to avoid the growth of microorganisms, we are drying. So dried food is not easily contaminated by the microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast and mold. Is it clear? So to avoid the infection of microorganisms, what we are doing? We are drying the food items. Some of the food items are drying. Then smoking. Smoking means in this process food products like meat, fish are exposed to smoke. Smoke means that is a smoke, that is the drying action of smoke tend to preserve the food. That is flesh, that is meat and fishes are exposed to smoke. So the smoke, what will happen? It will preserve the food and avoid the infection of the microbes. Then third process is irradiation. Food irradiation is a process of exposing food to the optimum levels of ionizing radiation. That is, we are passing the food with some of the rays like X-rays, gamma rays or UV rays. What will happen means these X-rays, gamma rays and UV rays kills the harmful bacteria or any pest which are present in the food. Okay, so what will happen? We are passing the food in the UV rays, gamma rays or X-rays. These rays kill the harmful bacteria which are present on the surface of the food and avoid the infection of the food, spoilage of the food. So it will preserve its freshness. With the help of this irradiation, the food will be as such, it will be looks like a fresh food and it is easily preserved. This is the third one. First one, what is it? It is simply drying in the sunlight. Second one, what is it? It is smoking. Third one, irradiation. We are passing some radiations. Then what is the fourth step? Fourth step is cold storage. In this storage, what we are doing, that is, for example, we can take a fridge. In this fridge, we are storing the milk, cheese, butter and all those things. No, like this cold storage is also one of the process of preserving the food. In this, it is a process of storing the perishable foods such as vegetables, fruits and fruit products, milk and milk products, etc. Isn't it at low temperature? At low temperature, what will happen means the biological action is very slow, the chemical reaction is very slow, so it will prevent the spoilage of the food. Okay, is it clear? That is some of the fruits, vegetables. Why we are keeping the fruits and vegetables in the fridge? So the temperature is very less. So what will happen? That is low temperature slow down the biological and chemical reaction of the microorganisms which is present in the food. So only it will be preserved. Okay, so it prevents the spoilage of the food. So it is one of the important step in preservation of the food. Then last one, then next one, freezing. Freezing is one of the widely used method of food preservation. It is also like the cold storage. Freezing is another method in which we can preserve the food. This process involves storing the food below 0 degree Celsius at which microorganisms cannot grow. Below 0 degree Celsius, that is microorganisms cannot survive. So the chemical reactions are reduced and metabolic reactions are also delayed. So freeze drying is one of the important technique for preserving the food. Okay, so next one, in freezer we are keeping the fishes and meats, no chicken, that is fishes and meats we are storing in the freezer. Why? That is in the flesh the microorganisms are somewhat high, so the infection and spoilage of food is more. So we are keeping the flesh and the fishes in the freezer. So it avoids the growth of microorganisms and spoilage of food, isn't it? So okay. The next one, pasteurization. This is particularly for preserving the milk. Pasteurization is the process of heat treatment of liquid food products. Here it is, we are heating the milk to a extreme temperature for preservation of milk and beverages. That is some of the cold drinks. This process also involves boiling of milk to a temperature of 63 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. We are boiling the milk for 63 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes. And what we are doing means suddenly we are cooling the milk. What will happen means it will destroy the microorganism which is present in the milk. So what will happen automatically? The microorganism present in the milk will be destroyed. So the milk will not spoil. So pasteurization is one of the important technique which is used in the dairy industry. That is, most of the milk is preserved by this method. That is, we are getting the packet milk, no? They are all preserved milk. By this technique, they are giving the milk for 3 days for usage. Is it clear? Okay. Next, we are going to see canning. Next preservation is canning. Last one is canning. In this method of food preservation, most vegetables, fruits, meats and dairy products, fruit juices and some ready to eat foods are processed and stored in a clean, steamed airtight container under pressure and then sealed. It is then subjected to high temperature and cooled to destroy all microbes. Canning is the last method. In this method, what we are doing? After killing all the microorganisms, we are packing the food in a can. That is airtight container. If suppose air enters into the container, means definitely through air some of the microorganisms enters into the container and also spoil the food. So airtight containers are used. And also some of the fruit juices, no, that is tropicana, and some of the fruit juices, no, all these fruit juices are also preserved in an airtight container to avoid the contamination under pressure, and they are sealed. It is then subjected to high temperature and cooled to destroy all microorganisms. This canned, tinned containers are subject to high temperature and suddenly cooled. So what will happen automatically? All the microorganisms which is present in the canned food is destroyed. Okay, these are all the following steps in which we are preserving the food. We had seen, in this method we had seen what? First one, drying. Okay, first one drying, second one smoking, third one irradiation, fourth one, what is it? Cold storage, fifth one, what is it? Freezing, then sixth one, pasteurization, then last one, it is canning. These are all the methods in which we can preserve the food to avoid the spoilage of the food. Then next one, addition of preservatives. Why we are going to add the preservative? What is the purpose of the preservative? Okay, food can be preserved for long storage and usage. We have to preserve the food. So for preserving the food, they are adding some preservatives. That is, adding natural and synthetic preservatives for long-term storage and long-term usage. They are adding some of the preservatives. So what are the natural preservatives? Natural preservative means some naturally available material like salt, sugar and oil are used as a food preservatives. They are naturally added in the food for preserving the food. For example, we can use pickle, no? Pickle, all type of pickle we are using oil. More oil will be used for pickle. So that is plenty of oil. Avoid the pickle and it will be used, and we can use the pickle for long term storage, isn't it? That is, if suppose we are using very less amount of oil, means what will happen? The pickle will be easily dried and it will be easily spoiled. This is a very good example for natural preservation. Okay, that is the addition of salt. It is one of the oldest method of preserving the food. Addition of salt. What will happen means, for example, we are making the pickle, means if suppose we are making the lemon pickle or mango pickle, whatever it is, what we first do, the first step, what it means, we are cutting this mangoes or a lemon, and we are dipping it in the salt. Then addition of that is, it is one of the oldest method of preserving the food. What will happen? Addition of the salt removes the moisture content in the food by the process of osmosis. If we are adding the salt to the lemon or mango, what will happen? Automatically that is, the pulp will be dried. That is, the mango pulp will be dried by the process that is called as osmosis. This prevents the growth of salt. That is all the moisture content will be absorbed by the salt. So this prevents the growth of bacteria and reduce the activity of microbial enzymes. I already told you, if suppose any moisture present in the food means what will happen? It will be easily contaminated. If we are keeping the that is lemon or mango in the salt means what will happen? All the salt will absorb the water from the mango. So what will happen? All the water will be sucked by the salt. So automatically what the moisture is reduced, so no microbial activity or microbial enzyme activity will be taken place in the lemon or mango. Example for that is meat, fish, gooseberry, lemon and raw mangoes are preserved by salting. Okay, I already told you. I will give you this example only. That is, salt is also used as a preservative in pickle, canned food, etc. Okay, that is, I already told you the example. That is, for pickle they are using salting methods. Okay, then addition of sugar and honey is also added as a preservative to increase the shelf life of the fruits and fruit products. Like for how in pickle we are using salt, like that in sweets we are using this sugar. For example, jams, jellies, squashes, we are using sugar. This sugar and honey, what will do means it will increase the shelf life of the fruit. Shelf life of the fruit means the duration of that is the duration of usage and duration of reducing the spoilage is increased. That is, fruit products like example jam, jellies and squashes, we are using this sugar and honey. What will happen means it also reduce the water content of the food, like the salt. How the salt reduce the water content? Like this addition of sugar also reduces the sugar or honey, helps in reducing the water content of the food and also minimize the process of oxidation of food. As a result, what will happen? The food will not be spoiled and it will be preserved and used for a long time. Okay, these are all the natural methods. What is that? Addition of salt and addition of sugar. And then last one is the addition of oil. That is addition of oil. I already told you, in the pickle we are adding more oil means it will prevent the contact of air with the food. So look, in if we are buying a pickle from the shop means what will happen? The oil will be we are opening the pickle, the oil will be on the top of the pickle. What will happen? That is, it prevents the entry of air into the pickle. So the microorganisms cannot enter into the pickle. So it avoids the spoilage of the pickle. That is the addition of oil. These three are all what methods? These three are all natural preservative methods. That is addition of salt, addition of sugar and addition of oil. These three are all natural preservative methods. Then next one, synthetic preservatives. Synthetic preservatives means like sodium benzoate, citric acid, vinegar. In juices we are using vinegar now. Vinegar, sodium bisulfate, potassium bisulfate are added to food products like sauces. In some sauces we are using vinegar. Then jams, jellies, packed food and ready to eat foods. That is, these food items, mostly we all know that vinegar are used in sauces, jams. Then these are all some other preservatives, that is benzoate, citric acid, sodium bisulfate and potassium bisulfate. These are all some of the synthetic preservatives which are used in sauces, jams and jellies. Then these preservatives delay the, what will do means these preservatives will reduce the growth of microorganisms and it will keep the food safe for using a long time and it will be stored for a long time. So these are the synthetic preservatives which we are using to keep the food without spoilage. I hope you all clear about this topic. What is food preservation and what are the types of preservation? Okay students, I hope you all clear about this topic. Thank you.